Hey Chris, okay, so here is your spread, and I want to say right off the bat, this is kind of a interesting one, kind of a interesting energy, interesting, kind of strong, kind of intense. What we're going to do is we're going to look at where you were in this life, what you did with the majority of your life here, one important day, a second important day, how you died, and the lesson learned. And we'll get a feeling of the time period throughout. All right? So let's start. We have you situated in Asia. All right? And typically, you think, oh, China, Japan, something like that. But quite frankly, I'm being pulled to Russia. I really have a heavy Russia feeling about this. And it's interesting because what you did with the majority of your time, you spent in science, but not science like a chemistry lab. I feel like this is someone who is working with leveling things. There's something about weights, gravity, even like momentum, something that has to do with forwarding technology, bringing it more advanced, possibly even someone who is developing weaponry, advanced weaponry, something fresh, new. So like, oh boy, and so what I'm feeling is basically that this time we're looking at is like possibly, golly, I want to say like the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union is taking over during that time period, it's already established. Let's say the Soviet Union is already established. They're done with that, the family prior. I want to say you also, but it's really kind of weird. I want to say that there's something about the before and after. So the people you're working with and for, and then the people that they uprooted in order to take over. I feel like you're working for these people who uprooted like a dynasty, and they took over in Russia, and yet I feel like there are some little strings you have attached to the old family, or the old reign, the old ruling. Almost like you grew up with that, but at the same time working for these people. It's like keep your friends close but your enemies closer. That's kind of how I feel. And so in doing that, I feel like you're working for this group in Russia, and so whatever time placement this is, it's not too long ago at all, as you probably know. And I just see you working on something. You're hobnobbing with top people here, and it really is because of your skill. It's like you understand the mechanisms of things more than anyone else in the country. Almost like if they had to find someone better than you, they'd be going to Einstein. Like they'd be having to go out of the country to find experts to bring them in. In Russia, you're the expert. You're one of them, and that's why they like you. Because you're one of them. They want to keep their own close to them. They don't trust outsiders at this time. That's what it feels like. Okay? So let's go to an important day and see what's happening here. So this card right here, on this day, this is the Enlightenment card. This is usually indicating when something happens that kind of awakens someone or enlightens someone to something bigger than themselves, kind of a more universal thing going on. So the relationship involved with that, we have a family card, and then we can have the feeling associated is the I can do it card. It's kind of the confidence card, I can do it card. And I want to say that, so this family card it's not your family. I feel like you're watching a family. Okay, I feel like the people you work with, almost like your boss or the guy because it's almost like, yeah, he's your boss, but really, he needs you more than you need him. He's just your boss because of his title. So you're in like top circles here, and it's where you are more than their equal. You're higher than that with your intelligence and your skill. but their title gives them, you know, that edge, of course. And I feel like here, there's something about this guy's family that turns a light on. I want to say that it's almost like you fall in love with his daughter or something. I feel like there's the head guy, and he has a family, and there's this beautiful girl, because you're a male in this life. You're very male in this life, and I feel like you're smitten with this girl, and I feel like this girl shares a interesting similar value with you regarding the old ways. There's something about the old ways, not traditional, not really, not, I don't even want to say it's religious. I want to say there's something about the old ways. Almost like you both reminisce the same way. There's a nostalgic feeling that both of you tap into the same way regarding how the world worked before this person came into reign. Does that make sense? I don't know. Just stick with me here. Bear with me. Okay. And I feel like this person, this girl, it's like almost like life before that was just your brain. Like you're just so smart and you're so competent and skilled, and that's all you do. You just work. And then you get in with this family, this really high-level ruling family of sorts, and this girl, there's something that just like lights you up. And so your job during this past life reading is to make connections where you can. Maybe you're someone who is looking for that person to just snap them on, and there's love, true love right away. Maybe that's your gig. It might not be, but that could be the case. That's how you can make connections. Almost like if you haven't found someone, you're waiting for a moment that might not really occur. That's not really realistic to wait for, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind. If there's something you are waiting for in order to move forward in your life currently, if you're waiting for an aha moment, if you're waiting for something to drop out of the sky, if you're waiting for a sign, I would honestly encourage you to just move forward. Don't wait. Don't stall. Don't put anything on hold. You need to take that step forward. It's not going to happen what you're waiting for, if that speaks to you at all. Okay? All right. So let's finish this out. So there's this connection you make this day, this time period. There's a connection that's being made with this girl. Of course, I feel like there is definitely a reciprocation of this connection. It's a very special connection. I want to say it's a soul bond kind of connection. So if you have found someone, you might feel like that's what you were waiting for, was a soul bond connection, which is realistic to want and to have. This can truly happen. So this card, this confidence card, it's almost like when you see her and there's that connection, you know it's the right way. There's just an inner knowing, just how you know how to work at your job with these tools, with this weaponry, or the scientific, the mechanics of things, how it just comes to you so naturally. I want to say socially, things here didn't come to you quite as naturally, and yet this girl, loving her, came to you so naturally. It was almost like it was just so easy. It was almost surprising. You didn't expect it, and you didn't fight it, which is good. In fact, you might be someone that really tends to go with the flow of things. That might be the case. When you know it's right, you don't really you don't dig your heels in. When you know it's good for you, you know it's right. You might be someone that's like, okay, yeah, I can see how this is good for me. That might not that might not be how it always was, but now it could be that that's the case. So keep that in mind as well. And that's a good thing. Okay. So on this next day, what's happening here? Well, it's really interesting because this came up in my last reading too. This what's it called? Combo. Marriage card with the soul group card. All right. Now, this is interesting because what I'm seeing is that you and that girl, you elope together, and you have to escape and run away in order for this to work, because it's not that they wouldn't want you together. In fact, they probably would have welcomed it. And when I say they, I mean her family would have welcomed the union, because it would have secured your talents to them. It would have made it so that you were completely, like, you just would have basically owed them your whole entire life to work for them, do whatever they want. So it's not that you couldn't be together, it's not that they wouldn't encourage it, but because your love for each other, I feel like, was so real. It was just so, like, true and real. And there is this soul group, that's a connection. Like, she is part of your soul group. You are kindred spirits. And you both decide to get away from this, because it's almost like dangerous. It's almost like you don't want to get any deeper with these people. They're dangerous. And even though it'd be dangerous to escape them, I feel like you were given immunity or safety in another country. I want to say possibly in a European country, in Western European country. I feel like you and her were both taken in by a more enlightened and more liberal society, where you could continue your efforts and continue your work and your skills and what you do and what you love to do and what you're good at, what you know what to do, but under the watch of someone less fierce and less severe, I want to say, because I feel like people here got killed for mistakes, just plain old mistakes, or if they didn't like them, I feel like being like just displeasing them was easy, I felt, up here. And when you leave and you go to this other country, and I know I brought up Einstein earlier, but I do want to say Germany. I want to say you guys went away to Germany for some reason. I don't know why. So just keep that in mind too, if you have any kind of interest in visiting Germany or Amsterdam, Hollandish, a Holland kind of culture kind of thing, where it's more peaceful, more laid back. And I see you guys starting a family here with multiple children. I feel like the language you pick up, you just pick up the language to fit in as much as possible, which is easy for you, not as easy for her. But you, for some reason, there's something in the mechanisms of language works really well in your brain, at least here. So that might be another connection you might bring to your current life. The feeling associated with this is a duality card of positive or negative, and I feel like it's not one or the other. This is perfectly balanced, because for you guys to do this, that is such a huge risk. That is such a huge risk for you guys to leave not just what you know, but leave such a dangerous thing. Like, this is dangerous. It's dangerous enough where if they found you guys, they would kill their own daughter. That kind of thing. Those kind of people. But it's also positive, because I see that you do get away. You do find safety, and you also find a way happier life. It's like, I want to say it's peaceful here. It's, what's the word? It's not nirvana, but, it's just like, it's a life that you never thought you would have, but that you took a risk for, that she helped you take a risk for, a risk you would not have taken by yourself. That love that you felt for her, that love really pushed you to take that risk, and it reaped very high rewards. So that was a very special time here too. Alright, so let's look at the death. Now, this is the Burn Baby Burn card, and it doesn't, a lot of times this can be, I get this a lot of times for witches on trial kind of thing. It can also mean being burned, in a building, or being set on fire. So I'm just trying to see what it is now. I'm just like, what is the burning for? What's happening here? What's going on? Yeah, I think I'm just seeing a house fire. Because what I'm seeing basically is wooden beams burning. Okay, wait, not just a house. This is what's happening here. It's not a house. This is where you're working in this new place. This isn't your house. This is a wooden, like, not a lab, not a warehouse. What's the word? It's like, it's a big room where you can continue doing what you do. It's like, it's what's the word? It's just your workplace. There you go. It's your workplace. And I feel like this workplace burns down. There is something you're working on that sparks. It's almost like you're working with wires. I see like the end of a wire. It's broken. Kind of like, what do you call it? When those cable wires and it's, when they get hit by lightning or something, like the street wires come out and they say don't touch it, you'll electrify yourself, you get electrocuted. It's like the end of one of those like cables or wires that I see it like it's electric heat. There you go. That's what it is. There's electric heat, and the electric heat sparks a fire. The fire consumes the workplace. I don't know why you can't get out. I want to say it has to do with something that you're working on, trying to save what you're working on, because it is such an advanced technology. You don't want to lose it. You don't want to start over, and that's just a mistake on your end because you kind of risked your life to save it, but you didn't get out. No, okay, so now they're showing me you coming out of the building, and you actually, so you're not consumed in flames. You inhaled so much that when you come out of the building, there's not really much time. You're suffocating, and I just see you outside of a doorway on the ground when people come rushing over, and you don't make it past that, okay? So that means that in this current life, if you have any problems breathing, catching your breath, if you have any kind of fear of flame, any kind of, let's see, what's going on? Yeah, it's mostly the respiratory, it's mostly the upper chest area, breathing. If you get fatigued easily when you shouldn't, anything like that. And that might not be the case, but if that's the case, it stems from this fire incident that occurred. And I want to say that this life, I don't think it was your last life, but it could have been the life right before your last life. So like 2 lifetimes ago. I feel like this is what we're looking at. Okay, so the lesson learned in this life. This is wonderful. It goes right along with the kind of person you are too. This is the, like, using your mind, using your brain, knowledge, strategy, learning, all of that. That your life, the lesson of this life was to learn, to soak in knowledge, to utilize your knowledge, to use your brain. And what an IQ you had here. That, I don't doubt, trickled over to your current life. There's something that is very important almost about how you utilize how smart you are. There's something you can do that can better the world. Like there's something you can do that can help a lot of people because you're so smart. There's something there, okay? And I don't do this to flatter people, but there's something about that. Just keep that in mind. If you have an idea or a project that you want to work on, go for it. Like, please pursue projects that you have in mind. Please pursue them, and don't stop yourself just because it might feel like a useless idea or silly or this or that. If it excites you and it's something you want to do and create or build or something, please do it. Please go ahead, because otherwise you're taking away from the world what you're here to give. Yeah? Okay, so sorry that's, if you watch some of the other videos, you can hear my speaking isn't as stunted. It's just this is it's kind of an intense life, and it's very interesting, and I don't know, it's just coming out in that way. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. There's your past life, and thank you for letting me read you.